Good morning. Today we will learn how to write part program for profile cutting. Okay. First write down the problem. Write a part program to machine around the outside of the part as shown in figure. Use 6 mm diameter in mill cutter. Use feed rate of 90 mm per minute. Assume the Z0 is at the workpiece top surface. It is a problem. Means here you have to use the in-mill cutter for cutting the profile as shown in figure. The workpiece size is 70 by 50 millimeter and thickness is 2 millimeter. Means you have to cut the profile from the workpiece. As shown in figure, it is a workpiece. It's having size 70 by 50 millimeter and thickness 2 millimeter. This dotted line shows the cutter path, how the cutter moves to perform the machining operation. A small circle shows the cutter diameter. Diameter of the cutter is 10 millimeter. 6 millimeter. Okay. Means you have to move the cutter from point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. This is the movement of the cutter. Means this is a tool path to perform the machining operation. Okay. Then first you have to find out the workpiece 0 or Z0. As shown in figure, in profile cutting, the workpiece 0 is always at the corner of the workpiece. Okay, that is X0, Y0, Z0, that is the workpiece 0. From this point, you have to measure the coordinates. Okay, along the x-axis, along the y-axis and along the z-axis. This is a workpiece 0. Then you have to find out the coordinates as shown in figure. First you have to bring the tool to the point where you want to start the operation, that is point 1 is the first tool position. Means tool is move from the machine home position to the point 1, that is the first coordinates, which having the coordinates -10 and y coordinate is also -10. Means is it clear why it is -10 and -10? From this point 0 point workpiece 0 above the along the x-axis or y-axis, these are positive, and below that these are negative. Okay, therefore coordinates of the point 1 is -10, -10. Then coordinates of the point 2. To find the coordinates of the point 2, here you have to consider the diameter of the cutter, that is center point of the cutter. While finding the coordinates of point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., you have to consider the center point of the cutter. From this point, you have to find out the tool path or cutter path. By considering the center point of the cutter having diameter 6 millimeter. So the coordinates for the point 2 is -3 and -3. X coordinates is -3, y coordinate is -3. Is it okay? Because this point is below the 0 point. That's why it is minus minus. Is it clear? Then you have to find out the coordinates of point 3. its x coordinates remain same, minus 3. Y coordinate 53. Total length is 30 plus 20 बरोबर 20. 30 plus 20 equal to 50, and radius of the cutter is 3 millimeter, that is above the workpiece surface. That radius you have to consider. You have to move the cutter to cut a material. That's why you have to consider 3 millimeter radius, 50 plus 3. Therefore, y coordinates of the point 3 is 53. X coordinates remain same. Similarly, coordinates of the point 4. There 4 point. What is the length of the length between the 3 and 4? 40 plus 30, 70, plus radius 3, that is 73. That is x coordinate is 73. Y coordinates remains same, that is 53. Okay. Then again you have to move the cutter from point 4 to 5 over the length of 30 millimeter. Is it clear? What are the coordinates of the point 5? X coordinates remain same. X coordinates remain same, 73. You have to find out the coordinates of point 5 from the 0 point. Therefore, the cutter will move below the 3 millimeter, and distance between the 0 point and point 5 is 20. Is it okay? 20 minus 3. Therefore, y coordinate is 17. Is it okay? What is the actual moment of the tool from point 4 to point 5? 30 plus 6, 3, 3. 3 plus 3 means 36. Don't consider the movement of the tool. Find out the last point or target point of the cutting tool. That target point is 17 millimeter from the 0 point or workpiece 0. Is it clear? 20 minus 3. Therefore, y coordinate is 17. Then find out the coordinates. Point 6. Here the y coordinates remain same. You have to find out the x coordinates from the workpiece 0. What is the x coordinates? 40 plus radius of the cutter. 40 plus 3. Therefore, 43. X coordinate is 43. Y coordinates remain same, 17. Then find out the coordinates points 7. X coordinates remains. What is the x coordinates? 40 plus 3, radius of the cutter. 3 is the radius of the cutter. Therefore, 40 plus 3, 43. Y coordinates minus 3. Below the workpiece surface it is minus. Therefore, y coordinate is minus 3. Then move the cutter from point 7 to point 8. Or you can also move the cutter from 7 to 2 also. But to remove the job, you have to move the cutter away from the workpiece surface so that you can directly move the cutter along the x-axis away from the workpiece surface. That is point 8. What are the coordinates of the point 8? My x coordinate is minus 10 minus 3 because x coordinate is minus here from the workpiece 0. Is it okay? Do you understood how to find out the coordinates? While finding the coordinates here, you have to consider the radius of the cutter. Is it okay? After finding the coordinates of the points, here you can write the program in similar way as in case of drilling operation or lathe operation. That is the first program for profile cutting. P001 is a program number. Write in the first block N110 G28 U0 V0 W0 end of the block. Is it okay? Means your tool will reach at machine home position by default. Okay. UVW are the parallel axis with the X, Y, Z axis respectively. Is it okay? Then next block is similar. N120 G90, G94, G21. Is it okay? G90 absolute coordinate measuring system, G94 feed rate in millimeter per minute, G21 metric system is used, that is all the dimensions are in millimeter, end of the block. The next block is N130, M03, S100, M08, end of the block. Start the spindle in clockwise direction with 800 rpm and start the coolant. That is the meaning of the block number 130. The next is block number 140. Bring the tool from machine home position to the point where you want to start the operation. Our point is 1 is the point nearer to the starting point of the point 2. Therefore, you have to bring the tool from home position to the point 1 with rapid traverse by mentioning the coordinates of the point 1. Therefore, in block number 140, G00, x minus 10, y minus 10, end of the block. That is the point 1. Tool will be reached at point 1 with the rapid traverse. The next block is G0, GN150, G0, Z5, end of the block. Means your workpiece is 5 mm above the workpiece surface. It should not be touched to the workpiece surface. Means at point 1, your tool is 5 mm above the workpiece surface. Is it okay? That is the starting point of the machining operation. Then you have to give the depth of cut to perform the cutting operation. Therefore, to giving the depth of cut means you have to plunge the tool into the material. Therefore, it should be moved slowly. You have to control the fill rate. Therefore, in block number N160, you have to use the code G01 linear interpolation function and give the depth of cut. As the thickness of the workpiece is 2 mm, you have to give some more depth of cut to perform the cutting operation. Therefore, Z minus 3 with control rate F90, end of the block. Is it okay? Means during the block number 160, the depth of cut is given. Is it okay? Away from the workpiece surface. Then you have to move the tool from point 2 to the point, then move the tool to the point 2 with linear interpolation function, that is block number N170, G01, x minus 3, y minus 3, end of the block. X minus 3 and y minus 3 is the coordinates of the point 2. Is it okay? Then to perform this cutting operation, you have to move the tool along the cutter path using the same code, that is G01. G01 is the model function. It is not necessary to mention in the next blocks. So that in block number 180 is we just write down the coordinates of the point 3. What are the coordinates of the point 3? Minus 3, 53. Means x coordinates remain same. So that it is also not necessary to mention it again. Only you have to move the tool along the y-axis up to the y coordinates 53. Is it okay? That is the meaning of the block number 180, y 53, end of the block. Means your tool move from point 2 to the point 3 to perform the machining operation. Is it okay? Similarly, move the tool from point 3 to 4. Here, what are the coordinates of the point 4? 73, 53. Here the y coordinates are remain same. Y coordinate remain same. So it is also not necessary to mention it again. Only move the tool from point 2 to point 4 along the x-axis. Okay, therefore we just mention the coordinates of the point 4, that is x, 73 end of the block number n 190, x 73 end of the block. Is it okay? Then move the tool from point 4 to 5. You have to move the tool along the only y-axis. X-axis remain same. What are the coordinates of the point 5? 73, 17. Okay. Therefore, move the tool along the y-axis, that is point 5, having coordinates y 17, that is block number n 200, y 17 end of the block. Then move the tool from point 5 to 6. What are the coordinates of point 6? 43, 17. Means y coordinates are remain same. Okay, just you have to move the tool along the x-axis. For that purpose, you have to measure the coordinates from the work 0 point, that is 43. Just mention the x coordinates, that is target point of the tool, n 210, x 43 end of the block. Then move the tool from point 6 to 7. What are the coordinates of point 7? 43 minus 3. Therefore, your x coordinates remain same. You have to move the tool along the y-axis only. Y-axis only. Therefore, you have to just mention the coordinates of the y-axis, that is n 220, y minus 3 end of the block. Your tool will move from 6 to 7 to perform the machining operation with the linear interpolation function. Is it okay? Then move the tool from point 7 to 8. Here you can also move the tool from 7 to 2, but it is very easy to move the tool from 7 to 8. Therefore, what are the coordinates of the point 8? Minus 10, minus 3. Y coordinates remain same. Therefore, you have to just mention the x coordinates. Therefore, in block number 230, x minus 10 end of the block, that is a point 8. Means here your profile cutting operation is completed. Then you can remove the job from the work holding device. Okay, before that you have to move the tool or retract the tool from the workpiece. Is it okay? Because depth of cut is given, tool is below the workpiece surface. First you have to retract it with the rapid traverse during the block number 240, G00, Z5 end of the block. Means your tool will reach to its initial position, that is 5 mm above the workpiece surface. Then you can easily remove the job from the work holding device. Then move the tool to the machine home position, that is block number N250, G28 end of the block. By default here U0, W0 or U0, V0. Instead of writing that, you can write only code G28. Its coordinates are by default U0, V0, W0, but it is not necessary. You may not be right that. Just mention the G28 in block number 250 so that your tool will be moved to the machine home position. Is it okay? After the tool is reached to the machine home position, then you have to stop the spindle, stop the coolant, that is block number N260, M05, M09 end of the block. And last block is N270, M02 end of the block. M02 means end of the program. Is it okay? Do you understood? What you have to do here, while finding the coordinates, you have to consider the radius of the cutter instead of dimension of the workpiece also. You have to add the cutter radius in actual dimensions of the workpiece. That is the difference between the lathe operation or drilling operation. Is it okay? Thank you.